Hey YouTubers, welcome back to the Small Engine Doctor, and welcome back to another episode of Small Engines Questions and Answers for Friday, May 20th, 2011. Now before I get started today, I just want to show you guys this old Honda motor here that I got for free, but actually it's missing the whole carburetor assembly. The air breather box is there, but the whole carb's missing. I don't even know what it looks like. So if anybody has one kicking around for cheap and you know for sure that it's going to fit, just let me know. Here's the spec on it. Honda motor, 240 cc's. And this motor here has a keyed shaft here. It's not tapered like the other generator motor that I have. It's a pretty old engine and I don't think I can buy new parts for it. Even if I could buy a new carburetor, it'd be so expensive that it wouldn't even be worth fixing. Also, if you have a head kicking around for this engine, let me know, because the spark plug threads in this one are pretty stripped, and it's a flathead engine, by the way. So here's one last look. If you've got old carburetors kicking around, let me know. Question I often get at this time of the year is people are emailing me telling me that their lawnmower won't start. They say that when they put them away last fall, it ran perfectly. The most common culprit of this problem is that often these lawnmowers will be stored with fuel in a gas tank with no fuel stabilizer, and then when people go to start them in the spring, they won't start. So the best answer I can give you at this point is drain the fuel, because most likely that's your problem. On this lawnmower, for example, you could disconnect the fuel line from underneath the fuel tank here and let it drain completely. And you could also come down here and remove this bolt here, and what that's going to do is drain the bowl of any old fuel that's in the carb. If you've got a lawnmower with a Tecumseh engine, you can do the same thing by disconnecting the fuel line underneath the fuel tank and draining the tank. Now if you've got a lawnmower with a Briggs & Stratton motor with the carburetor attached to the fuel tank like that, it may be a bit more difficult to do that because there are no fuel lines to remove. You could tip the lawnmower on its side and drain the fuel tank that way, or if you have an old turkey baster like that, just reach in the fuel tank and drain it. And this is an easy solution for a homeowner. Just reach in, suck it out, and then dump it out in a proper container. Now if you think there's still a bit of fuel left in the carburetor that is old and you're having a hard time to start it, use some quick start or some flammable penetrating oil, spray a bit in the spark plug hole, and that should get it moving, at least started, pump in the new fuel, and then she'll keep going. Before you attempt this procedure, you may want to make sure that your lawnmower has good spark. You may want to get a friend to help you by holding the safety lever on the lawnmower and pulling it over while you hold the spark plug on the engine to see if the spark's good. And if you have spark and it won't run right after that, you may have to look further, like for example clean the carburetor and look at different issues as well if it persists. But usually when the fuel's bad in your lawnmower, you're not even going to get a sputter at all. Lawnmowers are more susceptible to not starting if the fuel is a bit old as compared to lawn tractors and other pieces of equipment. I find that lawnmowers don't put out the same amount of spark at the spark plug and therefore may not be able to ignite older fuels like that. Another common problem that I run into is oftentimes people tell me I took my lawnmower this spring out and when I run it there's oil spitting out of the muffler. Now unless somebody has overfilled the crankcase with oil, 9 out of 10 times that problem is due to the way that the lawnmower is stored. And in this next clip I'm going to show you how not to store your lawnmower. Now the way you see this lawnmower sitting up like that is a way you should not store your lawnmower, especially if it's a 4-cycle engine. What's happening at this point in the engine is all the oil is working its way toward the head of the engine where the valves are. And over many days what's going to happen is it's going to get all full of oil in the valve compartment over here, and inside the cylinder and the spark plug is just going to be full of oil to the point that you're going to get almost like a hydraulic lock as well when you go to start your engine. What I mean by a hydraulic lock is that there's so much oil inside the engine between the piston and the head that when the engine goes to turn over, there's no room for the air to escape because it's so full of oil in there, and it just will not let the piston move around. And so because of that, the engine will not be able to turn at all. And sometimes to get rid of that hydraulic lock is to remove the spark plug to let a bit of oil out so that the piston can move. And if you've stored your lawnmower upright like that, after you remove the spark plug, you're going to see it's full of oil. If you do manage to get it started, like I said, there's going to be a lot of oil spitting right out of the muffler. It's going to be black everywhere and coated with oil. And it's really going to smoke because it's burning all that excess oil inside the engine. So you're probably wondering, how do I get rid of this problem? The easiest way I find is spray a bit of quick start inside the engine if it will not start. If it does start, then let it run until it burns out all the oil. Now this may take a while. It could take from 10 minutes to 30 minutes to completely rid the engine of all that extra oil that's in the cylinder. And don't worry about it if you see a lot of smoke. A lot of the smoke's going to be from the oil that sat around the muffler. It's just burning from the heat of the muffler. And the other smoke is from the oil being burned inside the engine. And after you've let it run for a while and you don't see any smoke coming out anymore or oil, then it's clear of all excessive oil and it's good to go. Another question I often get is how to identify the model number and serial number on my lawnmower engine. Well, this is a newer MTD lawnmower here. Usually to identify the part numbers, you would use the model number and serial number at the back here, just as you see here. And with those numbers, MTD is going to be able to tell you exactly the specs of your engine on your lawnmower. There's also a serial number right in front of the dipstick tube right here that you can write down when you go to your small engine shop to get parts. And these newer lawnmowers have engines that are made in China. Now if you have a lawnmower with a Tecumseh engine like this, usually there will be a label here on the side, and it's going to give you the engine specs, like here it's a model LEV 105, spec number, and all that. So that's the numbers here that you want when you want to get a parts list, or you go to get parts for your engine. If you have a lawnmower with a Briggs & Stratton motor with a classic engine like this, usually the model and serial number are right at the front of the engine there, and they're usually engraved on the shroud here, as you can see. A question I get often from people is they ask me, why is the brake cable on my lawnmower so stiff? So the brake cable is attached to this safety lever here, and sometimes it can get pretty stiff when you go to use your lawnmower over the years. Now it's also called an engine stop cable or a brake cable, and it's hooked up right here on the lever. Goes through here and it's attached right to the front of the engine over here. You can see that when I pull the lever, the mechanism moves. A good way to make your cable loose again is to spray liquid wrench or oil down the cable. So what I usually do is pull the brake lever down like that and spray the liquid wrench right down the hole where the cable goes back in. And then I let the cable go back in, and this pulls the liquid wrench right in the cable. Now you can repeat the process numerous times like that. And eventually all the liquid's going to go down the cable and make it easier to use. Another good place you can lubricate is down here where the cable ends. By spraying this with liquid wrench, it's going to make this mechanism a lot easier to move. So that'll be it for this week's Small Engines Questions and Answers. Make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Friday. Take care now.